Hey. Hello, and welcome to the 8th episode of the Pure Michigan Properties Podcast. My name is Dylan Mostyn.
I am Shalaunda Wather.
Hey, Shalaunda.
Hi, Dylan.
What's going on?
Listen, enjoying the day.
Yes.
Right? The day didn't leave without us. We woke up with it, right? And we're here to seize every opportunity.
I love it.
Thank you.
So, let's give our audience...
No, you tell me what's going on.
What's going on?
Not yet, audience.
Sorry, audience. What's going on with me? Honestly, not much. It's just been a lot of education right now for like a lot of my clients, and even for myself.
Sure.
So, like, I know we were talking this morning. I have a client who is looking to purchase property. We're getting a creative deal we're trying to put together. But it's stuff that like I haven't been exposed to yet, being in real estate. So it's been really cool because I've been getting to learn. I've been learning from our broker, learning from our title company.
That's right.
So I mean, my biggest goal each and every day is to learn something new.
And you know what? Kudos to you, and also shout out to First Centennial Title Company, which
and Jenny specifically.
Yeah, Jenny specifically, because she helped me with the title for the deal that I have now pending. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Because, sorry not to like kind of cut you off, but like even for me, like that was a question I had about a deal that I was trying to put together, and I didn't know one of the questions about the ownership, and she explained it to me in a way that like I can comprehend it, and I can even relate it back to my own clients. So, shout out Jenny.
Yeah. Because to be fair, that seems like kind of a challenging deal you have going.
Yeah, we'll see if it goes through. We'll see.
Well, best wishes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So let's get into the episode.
Let's go.
So today, do you want to tell our audience what we're talking about?
You guys, we decided to come forth today with you to discuss how open houses can and are effective in today's dynamic market.
Yes.
So as we get started, first just discovering what the difference between types of open houses, such as traditional open houses where the information is put out on a public platform and anyone is able to attend, versus brokerage open houses where that's typically invite only from agent to agent, where the clients have already been vetted, and so it just makes it I guess a little bit, how to say it, could be easier
for sure,
especially for a buyer.
Yeah,
that means your agent has already met your criteria to a specific property, and it's an effective way, an efficient way to go and view open houses.
Definitely. So tell the audience why a seller might want to choose to do a broker's open rather than a regular open.
Yes, so from a seller standpoint, I think that I would feel comfortable if I were in the seller's shoes, having holding a broker's open houses if I'm really trying to sell the property, fast, like sooner, way sooner than later, and then also knowing that the realtors have already done the due diligence in vetting out these buyers, so they're bringing in more serious buyers.
And that's what I've noticed too. It's as much as it's an event, it's more for just agents to walk through, because they probably already have a client. Well, they should already have a client in mind for that specific property, because that's why they're going to the broker's open, saying, okay, I want to verify for my client before I bring them into the property.
Absolutely.
To say, hey, does this make sense for them? Because even like on our last episode, our clients can be super busy.
Oh yeah.
So it would make more sense for us to do our due diligence on our behalf before we start bringing them into the conversation.
That's right. Absolutely. And if your realtor has previewed the property before the brokerage open house, then they actually can bring the client along.
Right.
So yeah, but that's, I think from a seller standpoint, the benefit.
I would agree. I think that hits pretty much on.
Now, that's not to say that the home will be sold any faster, because here's the thing: the public is still looking for for property as well. You still have buyers in the market who may not yet be working with a realtor, who may independently choose to, do their own property search. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, let's get into why, or not even why, but let's go into the process of doing an open house on a realtor standpoint, right? So, for me, I like to break it up into 3 chunks. You have pre-open house, you have the actual open house day, and then you have post-open house.
Oh.
I think for me, actually, I was going to say the most important step, but they're all very important in the whole process. I don't think you can put like a ranking to them.
Well, let's hear your pre-open house.
So for pre-open house, there's a couple of different things I do. So depending on the specific location, I will run a Facebook ad or kind of some sponsored advertisement through online platforms. So for me, when I say specifically, it's just if I know the area very well. For me, I think as much as we're selling a house, we're also selling the location, right? Because a location of a property can be very important. It should be very important to someone as well. So for me, let's say I'm doing an open house in West Bloomfield. That's an area I know pretty well because I'm from that area, right? But if I'm doing an open house in, let's say, Monroe, I don't really know the area that well.
Okay.
So running a Facebook ad where I'll attract people from Monroe or from that kind of area, it might not be a benefit to me because they might be coming just to preview it, and I can only sell that house rather than location, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Another thing that I choose to do is door knocking. I will do that on every property that I host an open house for. One more because it's an educational value that I can give. I'll do that to the neighbors. I'll door knock around the neighbors or that subject property's house, just saying, "Hey, here's a flyer." I'll hand them a flyer. This is the open house. It's an event. You might notice that there might be a little bit more action on the streets of what's going on.
Oh, respectfully.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
you know what? At the end of the day, that's their community.
Indeed.
I just want to make sure that they at least have a heads up of what's going on. And also maybe they know someone who would want to be moving into that subdivision. I know for me, I've had a couple clients who have come to me and said, I only want this subdivision. And as soon as something comes available, please let me know.
Sure.
I want to get a showing in.
And you know what? I hosted an open house, and it happened to be a corner lot. And on the opposite corner was a family, and the family they came over. I invited them over to the open house, and they were saying their parents were out of town. The wife's parents was out of town, I must say.
Okay.
And she said that they were looking to find a place for her parents to come back and relocate so that they can be, closer to family. And perfect opportunity. It was a ranch style home, and here in Michigan, being by they were an older couple.
Yeah.
Didn't have a basement, and it also had an attached garage.
Oh.
And so, Michigan winters can be brutal.
Oh, for sure.
So, perfect opportunity.
Definitely.
So, yeah, that
For
door
sure.
knocking and talking to the neighbors is a very important step.
And ranches are becoming very popular.
I think
People they just love a one floor. They don't have to do the stairs, especially for like elderly people.
Even for me, because my knees, they crack and creaking. I'm trying to figure out where's all the synovial fluid. Does it come in pill form? Like I need it. If you guys know where to get synovial fluid for your joints, please reach me. I need some.
Please reach out to Shalaunda at but yeah, no, even like a couple even open houses I do, I've noticed like the ranches are very popular. I get a lot more action on those kind of houses rather than your typical colonial.
And so, who do you see typically come into the ranch style homes? Is it a specific demographic, age?
It's usually more on the older end. I'd say 50, 60. That's kind of where I've noticed for my open houses that I've hosted.
Okay.
Or even what I've noticed too is it's like their kids looking for their parents.
Yes.
I had one open house, and it was actually funny. It was one of the neighbors who actually came. He came and he was like, actually, I have my father. He wants to move closer to me because I want to make sure I can just check in on him every once in a while. I'm like, well, would this make sense for you? Because One, it's a ranch. There's no stairs. He doesn't have to move around.
Mm-hmm.
Attached garage, which is a huge bonus, especially in Michigan.
Absolutely.
Don't have to brush off your car in the morning. Great location. It was right by. So it was a winner, but like he didn't put it on. It just for him it didn't make sense.
Okay.
But it was a great house too.
Indeed.
So
not every property is gonna fit, one's needs, but
for sure. I mean,
you don't know until you first get them in the house.
That's my thing. Is like at least come and just check it out for like a couple minutes because you never know.
Absolutely.
You never know. But tell me about your pre-open house.
Similar to yours.
Routine.
Yeah, similar to yours. Some Facebook advertisement. Not just there, but social media. You can find the TikTok page, which I guess is honestly growing a little bit. Never thought I would be a TikToker. But door knocking, just because I like the human connection that comes with the interaction.
Yeah.
Besides that, I do go around and visit a few vendor businesses. Reach out to some of my vendors as well.
Okay.
And then too, my marketing plan is completely customizable. So I'm asking the seller what they agree to, just so that I'm working in their favor and on their terms as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
Just because everyone doesn't want the same type of exposure.
Right.
So just being intentional in that regard.
And I feel like it's also very important to be flexible. Kind of like what you said is like my whole presentation or the way I do things is very customizable to what the seller is looking for.
Yes.
So like it's not like it's a one size fits all. It's like you basically tell me what you're looking for and I'll customize like a package for
Absolutely.
what you're looking for and I'll deliver that.
Yeah, because some neighbors, honestly, some sellers, they don't want their neighbors to know that they're moving.
Right.
So
100%. I mean, I ran into one situation and the neighbor's like, oh. Like they were literally next door neighbors and they're like, I didn't even know my neighbor put their house up for sale.
See?
I was like, oh shoot, was I not supposed to say something? Like, my bad.
Sorry. Yeah.
But, so that's your pre-open house?
That's the pre-open house. Yeah.
Nice. And then, let me ask you this, how long do you feel like it took you to like develop that kind of system? Or I mean, because it's customizable.
Yeah,
but...
actually, yeah, it's customizable, but in order for me to create my marketing plan that is also authentic to me, because here's the thing about selling a property and working with a realtor, your property is only going to sell depending on your realtor's skill level, basically.
True.
It's your realtor that's going to basically get the property sold for you, I believe.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Of course, location, property's uniqueness, but the efforts that goes into, selling a property is realtor based, I think. So it did take me a little bit of time, right, to discover exactly how I can implement where my strengths were.
Right.
Right, because I don't want anything that's not authentic to me, because if it's not authentic to me, then it's not going to come off authentic
I was going to
the
say,
public.
because people could read that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the way you sound, the way you speak, it's just not going to sound confident.
Sure.
And the way we speak with our clients is so important.
That's right.
One, building trust with them and building that kind of relationship to where now they trust us to see us as the expert in what we do.
Absolutely. And see, I also, in retrospect, right, I want to give another shout out, if you don't mind, to
Please.
HGTV.
HGTV.
So, growing up, that was just one of my go-to channels, something that I just always loved.
Yeah.
Because of the creativeness that goes into everything that they do.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love HGTV.
Yeah.
My mom and I are on the couch every night watching whatever's on that channel.
I'm telling you.
So many good things are on that channel. Like,
I love it.
I'm obsessed.
And so then, tell me a little bit, Dylan, about your actual open house now.
Actual open house. So there's a whole process that goes behind it. So the most important part is making sure you're getting there early.
Yes.
I had an instance where I showed up early. I showed up about like an hour early.
Okay.
And there was people already like waiting to get into the house. Like there was a car in front. I was like, oh my god, like am I the one who's late? I was like, wait, let me double check the time.
Yeah.
And so they just were an hour early. They just wanted to see the house. Apparently, they already spoke with the listing agent on that property and said, "Hey, we're gonna come early." I just was never relayed that information.
Okay.
Came through, saw it, but I always believe make sure you're at least 30 minutes early.
That works.
I think 30 minutes early, just so you can at least go around the property, make sure it looks perfect. It's all set and in a great condition. Set out all your marketing materials. I personally, for me, I'll put out some music. I bring a little speaker. The reason why I do that is because you don't want people to feel like you're for me, okay, sorry, backtrack. For me, the way I host my open houses is I have a good feel if when someone comes in, if they want to be engaged with or not.
Sure.
So when I say that is I'll already have like a pre 30-second or probably like a couple minutes actually conversation that I already lined in my head that I'm going to have that conversation with who comes through.
That's fair.
And then I'll kind of gauge from there. I'm like, okay, do they want me to walk through the house with them, or are they just very like reserved and they rather just do their own thing? Most people, from what I've noticed, want to just do their own thing and walk through without me having to walk with them. So fair enough. I want you to feel comfortable when you're coming through the house.
Yeah, because this is your home.
First, exactly. But what I do though is I'll always find a specific room in that open house that I want to highlight. So like for like one open house, it had like a 7-car garage. I was like, that's one thing I want to highlight. So I let them walk through the house, and I met them in the garage when I found that they were in there. I was like, by the way, I wanted to highlight a couple things in here. It's a 7-car garage, blah, blah, blah. It's attached, whatever.
Okay.
I mean, so it's another way to build that connection with them without feeling I'm overstepping or making them feel uncomfortable. So that's an important part of my process, and that's why I get there earlier rather than later.
Yeah.
Is because now I can already start mapping out how I want to run things.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's kind of like my process. I'll set up my marketing materials, put on music. So, one, because if, let's say it's a wife and a husband and they're talking, I don't want it to be like dead quiet in the house to where it's like, now they're whispering because they think that I'm listening. So I'll put some music on so they feel more comfortable. Lay out some snacks, obviously, some water.
Oh, food is the most important.
My first open house I didn't put out food, and I had a realtor come.
I know you had some hangry guests.
Oh, I had a hangry realtor. They came and they're like, "Where's do you have any water or snacks?" And I was like, "Oh, unfortunately, I don't have any." They just left. They didn't even see the house. I was like, "Okay."
No snacks.
My bad. I've learned since that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I realized how important food is to bring people in. You know what else is very, very important?
What's that?
Balloons.
Oh, balloons are very important.
Do you do balloons for your open house?
I do balloons for my open house, and so some of the reason I do balloons, not even the reason, but the science behind my madness for balloons is I do a rating system.
Okay.
So on a scale to 1 to 5, right? Asking the seller, or even sometimes I host open houses for other listing agents. Hey, what do you think? Where do you think this property ranks?
Okay.
And everyone doesn't have a 5-star property.
Right.
Fair enough. And everyone isn't looking for a 5-star property because you're going to pretty much customize it the way you want once you move into a property and to make it your own.
Right.
And so intentionally I'm getting balloons according to that rating system.
Yeah.
So if you see 5 gold stars on a property,
come check it out.
Check it out. It's a 5-star property. Plain blank period. But if you're not looking for 5 stars either because you have the skill set, to put in your own work, then come check out all the properties. I will have food like Dylan, great music.
Yes.
It's an experience. My open house is an experience.
Yeah.
I like to welcome people in. I like to create a warm environment. Yeah. Because, again, you never know who's walking through the door and what they're looking for.
1,000%.
And so that, experience is very important.
And I remember
First impressions. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I cut you off. But I was just going to say is that I remember I came to one of your open houses and you did something so smart. Is I think you had the projector going? Or,
the slideshow.
Yes. She did a slideshow where She talked about the area, she talked about the house, she talked about the different things that made the house special.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're trying to sell something.
Nope.
You're just trying to give the information. And I love the way it came off because it didn't feel like a sales tactic, but it just felt like an experience and an event.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, when I walked in, I was like, I need to do this. I need to do that.
I appreciate it. I think it's just because typically I'm not from the area in which I'm selling property or doing an open house. And so it's helpful for me as well as anyone coming through the door. So
yeah. I gotta give you
that
kudos though.
knowledge.
I thought it was really smart because it genuinely felt like an event.
But you know what? I honestly learned that from an agent in our office.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Doug.
Shout out Doug. I remember because he was teaching a class about it one time when I first got into the office.
Okay.
And he kind of talked about that whole idea of he puts like a projector like on the screen. He'll bring a white, or what do they call it?
Oh yeah, a projection screen.
Projection screen. Yeah.
I actually attended one of his open houses when I first became an agent. So.
Yeah. So definitely, I love that idea, and I love that you took it and put your own personality twist and spin on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to love doing PowerPoints in my school days back in, way back.
For sure.
No one has to know about how far back.
No one needs to know that information.
But it's very effective ensuring that I follow up with individuals as well.
So yeah, let's talk about post open house now.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your follow up.
So I'll be honest, you guys. Not the best, but I'm getting better.
Okay.
And so, especially when it comes to reaching out authentically, I love to help people, right? And so I do understand not everyone attends open houses to purchase. They're just, out to discover and
they're just looking.
they're out just looking. Now we're in the winter months here in Michigan, so it's an activity to get people out of the house.
For sure.
So I'm just following up with care calls. If I call you, I'm not trying to sell you a home because you already know what you need, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just want to call you, see how you're doing, right? Just to follow up and see if you need anything, because I am here to be a real estate resource at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I also work to connect individuals with the respective professionals they didn't know that they needed.
Mm.
And so the follow-up is not always, hey, how did you like the property? Are you interested in that property or going to look at more properties? But sometimes it can also be to provide sellers with more feedback in the event that we didn't have opportunity to discuss some of the pros and cons of the property or the experience.
Right.
I'm always looking for ways to get better.
I
So
love
even
it.
if it's not the property, tell me something about myself.
For sure. What I do for my post open house, for the open house, I do have a sign-in sheet where I ask people to sign in and just give me some basic information about them and what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And then I'll take that, and that's what I use for my follow-up plan, is that I'll give a call to those kind of people, and I'll say, hey, I remember we discussed X, Y, and Z. Is this still your game plan for kind of what you're looking for? It's yes, no, maybe, or we're still kind of looking.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Let me at least set up a search for you, just so if I do find anything that comes across in my database, I can at least give it over to you and send it over to you. Does that sound fair? Most people say yes.
Okay.
A slight chance, some people are like, no, I just was looking around. Fair enough. Now I understand better where you are in the process of things. If you are even looking, if you're active.
So now I just understand that you came to eat my food.
Yes, I'm like, interesting. See the motivation.
Yes.
Food. I'm the exact same way, so I can't be mad at it. But yeah, no, it's great because it kind of already gives me something to kind of have that conversation about. So I'm not just like picking up the phone and saying, hey, do you want to put an offer on that house? Because to me, that's a sales tactic, and I don't like we talked about. I was like, I don't like to be a salesperson. I like to be a resource and educator, and add value to what you're looking for.
I would agree, and I see that in you. Dylan has a cool video, you guys, that you must go and watch. It's a day in Tell them a little bit.
Oh yeah, so I did a short little Instagram reel of a day that I hosted an open house. Kind of gives you a good picture of how I do mine. That was back in the summer, and I've grown a little bit more and made my open houses a little bit more advanced. But it kind of gives you an idea of what I've done in the past and how I host open houses. So I would definitely go check that out.
And I just think that it was really cool.
Aw, thank you. I appreciate that.
I admire it.
Thank you. But yeah, no, I think I love open houses. I think they're a great experience, a great event, and it's great to just have the conversations with people.
Oh, that's the best part. Please come in and have conversations with us. We love it. Typically, my open houses I run are 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours. It depends on the property.
Mm-hmm.
And so, not every open house gets a lot of attention or
Traction.
I was gonna say attraction, but I'm like, hey, is that the right word?
Right. That's the first word that popped in my mouth. We could both be wrong. But
no, I'm like attraction. Yes.
Attraction. Yeah.
Traction. There
I was saying attraction, like a.
That's why I didn't say it, because I'm like, it's not attraction. It doesn't get a lot of traction.
Listen, we're good with real estate. We're just not the best with words.
Oh yes, let's talk real estate all day. We'll go through the process, in and out of the process. We'll talk market stats. We'll just look at numbers, resources, but
just don't put words in front of them.
Don't put words in front of us. So.
I was the worst. Oh my god, this is not even important, but like I remember back in elementary school, you know how you had to do a spelling bee?
No.
Well, for me in my school, we had to do a spelling bee,
so.
and there was a pre-qualification. Tell me why I was
I made the pre-qualification.
Tell me why I literally was one of the only kids that didn't make it into the actual spelling bee. I remember we had to do spelling quizzes each week. Everyone got a regular list. I got a shorter list because I just.
What?
I remember the teacher had to call my mom. Was like, yeah, we're gonna give him a shorter list because his comprehension is just not at the level that.
That's okay, Dylan.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It just grew me to be a stronger person.
I was just gonna say.
Did I get better at spelling? No.
No.
But yeah.
But here's the cool thing. There's 3 parts to English language arts, right? Because it's an art, and I know this is totally off.
This is why I love the podcast.
But it's a reading part, it's a writing part, and it's a comprehension part.
Yeah.
I write and comprehend very well.
Yeah.
I read very well.
You do.
Oh, there is the spelling component too.
And
so
you
4
speak
parts.
very well.
But I do not spell. Do not ask me to spell. I grew up a science kid.
Yeah.
So taking things apart, discovering why and where and what needs to happen, open and closed circuits. And I think that's why real estate just came natural to me, because it's like a full map.
Yeah.
It maps things out. And deep dive into whys, who's, what's, when's, where's, whys.
I'm just kind of the best over here.
You better know it. You better own it.
Oh, for sure.
That's right.
For sure. So post open house is not, to me, and I think you can agree with it, it's not more of a sales tactic, but it's just understanding a deeper insight into what the people who came through and what they're really looking for.
Absolutely.
And honestly, what I'll do is when I go to when people come to my open house.
So when you guys come to this open house,
I'll say, would you be offended if I followed up with you in 24 hours just to get your feedback after kind of processed? And because usually when people walk through, they're like, oh, it's great, it's fantastic.
Okay.
But they kind of leave it at that. I like to have them sit on it for a little bit.
Okay.
And kind of process it. Plus, it's not as intimidating when you're having a phone call with someone and kind of give them hey, I didn't like this or that, rather than face to face. Because sometimes people can be like, oh, I don't want to offend him or anything. First of all, you're not offending me. It's just feedback that we can give back to the seller, right? Or the listing agent can give back to the seller. So that's what I try to tell or explain to a lot of people that come through. Please give me your honest feedback, because that is only going to help the sale of this property.
Sure.
So
yeah, absolutely. I would agree. I like that.
That's my follow-up plan in a nutshell.
And I need to take notes from Dylan, because I'm like, hey, you guys, if you give me permission, I'm just gonna reach out and call you. Is that fine? And so he does it in a way more respectful manner. He's like, hey, would it offend you? I'm like, hey, yeah, we're gonna talk later. You left your contact information? Oh, we're friends now. Now you're in the family. If I have your contact information, your family member now.
I was working with a real estate coach a couple months ago, and she was like, if you say would it offend you, it's such a powerful statement because people are like, no, you wouldn't offend me.
Right.
I had one guy who's like, it wouldn't offend me, but I wouldn't like it. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
But when it's such a psychological way of like saying like, can I follow up with you without saying like sounding desperate?
Sure.
It's like, would you be offended? Like I kind of just say that now all the time. Like,
would you be
offended if you help me with the groceries? Well, no, I wouldn't be offended. Would I like to? Not really, but like I'll help you. It's a different way to spin it. The question. When my coach said that, I was like, that's such a genius thing to say.
That is genius.
Because it's perceived as a different way.
Because I perceive if you give me your contact information and it's the correct contact information, then we're family. We're just connected now.
But I love that because that grows a relationship with who you're working with, right? Yeah. It genuinely feels more than just a business transaction.
Absolutely.
And that I know for 100% of confidence, that's you run your business as more relationship based rather than transactional.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So stay tuned, you guys, because this spring and fall we're gonna do a few events where you guys get to come out and I'm sorry that I kind of took over, but
no, please do.
We're gonna have a couple barbecues.
Yes.
Eat food.
Can I get invited?
Absolutely, Dylan. You will be there.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Absolutely. So
I was like, barbecue. I want to be there.
Yeah. So if I do have your contact information, expect an invite.
Yes. Please come.
Yeah.
Please come. But yeah, so that's kind of how I do my open houses. I feel like what you said, I think honestly I took some notes off what you were saying, especially about like making it more of an event than just like come, check out the house, and then leave, right?
Well, part of the reason I feel like making it into an event is because when I spend my money, right, I'm looking more for the experience. I'm not looking at the material necessarily. However, the hopes is that if you're coming into an open house and you're going to buy, please look at the property, the material effects and defects before making that type of decision. And so,
for sure. And I feel like it also, because as I've done open houses a lot more frequently as I've grown in this business, is that when someone usually goes to one open house, they're going to more than just one.
Correct.
Usually, like, if it's not that day, they're going to more, like, if I host it on a Saturday, they'll go to a couple more on Sunday, or if it's on a Sunday, they probably have, like, 2 more that they're going to go to that day. So I'm also trying to figure out, how do I keep them to remember who I was? And that's being different in the industry. And I love the fact that you do, like, a whole PowerPoint thing, because I've never seen another realtor besides Doug really talk about doing that for their own open houses. Yeah. And that's a way that you can stand out to someone. And you know what I love so much about open houses too?
Tell me.
Is that it's kind of like a pre-interview.
True.
To if someone who comes in who's not represented, I like to say, this is my time to shine then. Let me show them the value that I can provide them if they choose to work with me.
I love that.
So that's kind of the mindset I also have with open houses.
Yeah.
Is act like you're literally being interviewed. But that's just my philosophy.
No, that's really good, and I never put it in perspective that way. I just gathered, I don't know, I just like to show up prepared, and I feel like more prepared I am when it comes to executing, I'll just go ahead and rock out.
And I was about to say, your confidence is probably through the roof then.
Yeah.
And that's genuinely half the battle right there, is just the confidence aspect of things.
Perfect. And so, in wrapping up, just a brief overview, right?
Yeah.
Because confidence is key, and you guys confidently should come to some of our open houses. So keep a lookout. Yeah, keep a lookout for that. And
how do they get in contact with you, Shalaunda?
so to get out, the best way to reach me is by calling or texting 586-339-8321, or you can also visit me at Shalaunda, spelled SHALAUNDA.KW.com. And so you can't visit me there. Let me make that correction. You can utilize that app, that platform, to also access all my contact details and also to browse for homes.
There's a lot of cool tools on the website that anyone could just really use. Like they can look at properties,
Yeah.
calculate what their payments could be.
Yes.
Estimated, obviously.
Sure.
But there's so much more, like school districts. If you're looking for a certain school district, it kind of shows you all that kind of different things. I know that there's like a walkability score. So like,
Correct.
genuinely, even if you're not like actively searching, there's so much good resources and tools on these websites, especially like Shalaunda's and I's, that I just highly recommend you at least just check it out. At least.
And so Dylan, tell them how they can check you out and where to find you.
So the best way to check me out and find out my information is to go onto your preferred search engine, Google, Yahoo, Bing, whatever you want to use, and type in Dylan Mostyn Real Estate. It's going to be spelled DYLAN, last name Mostyn, MOSTYN, Real Estate. I can guarantee you it'll be the first link that pops up, DylanMostyn.com, whatever. But then on the tab it'll say contact. Click on that and you'll get all my information right then and there. And that's the best way to get in contact with me.
Well, it's been great speaking with you, Dylan, as always.
I was looking forward to this episode. I thought this was a great episode to be talked about. I don't think it's talked about enough about what open houses really are meant for. And they're super effective.
Absolutely.
To a seller, to buyers as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, as we wrap this up, I just think at the moral of the story is, depending on, because each house has their own situation. If a house sells like that, obviously you don't need to do an open house. But
correct.
If a house works for an open house, then I highly recommend them to a seller.
You know what? I'm hosting the open house soon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Are
all.
you gonna come out?
Can you text me the details?
I'll text you the details.
Okay, perfect. Text me the details and I'll make some magic happen.
But for you guys that's listening, I do want to share that information really quickly. I just actually thought about it today, because today is Wednesday. By the time you hear this podcast, 3733 Corton in Bloomfield Hills is where the open house will be located. Come out. It'll be a treat.
Go check it out. I better see you guys there.
So, looking forward to seeing you all soon and in the future. But for now, I guess we're out of here.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Oh, that's cute. Give me a
high five.
High five. Nice.
That's it.
We did it.
We did it.
Go team.